nice sticker on here, this one, Dan. What's the story behind that?
Made in America by RANS, one of our leading producers. I think with 4,500 airplanes out in the field, maybe Van's got a few more, I guess they do, but RANS has got to be one of our great success stories, mainly in the kit world, but not anymore. In fact, they're coming up in the charts as an S-LS, a fully built, ready-to-fly airplane producer, and here's one of them. Plus, this has not the very lowest price, but a very agreeable number. When we first got started with LSA, they were supposed to be inexpensive, and some of them loaded up with all kinds of gear and made out of carbon fiber have gotten a little expensive now, for some folks anyway. But this one, almost anybody could afford. This airplane, I don't know exactly what the equipment list is, but I think this is close to it, and it's only $63,000, fully finished, ready to fly, and RANS has always had a reputation for doing nice factory finish work, so you pretty much get in this thing and go fly. And here's an airplane that's been around our community for a long time. All of us old ultralight guys know the S6 for years and years and years. It looked a little different then. They've made lots of changes over the years, but now this one's all ready to fly. You can still get it as a kit, and that price starts at $20,000, so if 63 is still too high for you, go the kit route. They've got that down to a science, and they can support you very well, but if you want to get something, turn the key and go, here's a nice one for $63,000.
And they're not scrimping on it. I mean, you've got lots of cabin room there, you've got glass all the way around.
No, this is a nice big cabin in here. You know, RANS seats have always looked real simple to me. If you kind of look over my shoulder here, it's just a little simple arrangement of aluminum tubing and so forth. And when I first saw them, I thought, those seats can't be very comfortable, but they turn out to be as good as any of the fancier seats I've seen. So these guys have learned over the years how to do an airplane simply, light, and yet comfortable, and it performs well, and I think it's a pretty nice package. I could easily own one of these guys.
Randy must have to design it like that because he flies these to all these shows.
He does. He is a flying kind of guy, all right. I've flown with him a number of times and flying many of his airplanes, including this one, and you got to know Randy Schlitter to understand that character. He's one of our resident humorists, and if you don't smile after a conversation with him, you weren't listening.
And what is this airplane called?
This is called the S6, and they used to tag on the Coyote name to it, but now that it's an LS, they refer to it as the S-6LS, S-6LS.
Now, Dan, is this like a standard base panel that you would find on this airplane?
Yeah, the panel is the same, and you know, any of the RANS airplanes, they have always been famous for offering a variety of options on these airplanes, and in fact, this is that way too. In fact, the front cowling on this is an S6 Super, one of the other variations of the kit. And on some of the earlier S6s, their panel's a little narrower. This one has the larger panel. But what you see here is what you get. Now this one here has got a couple of extra things on it. So this one I'm told is $65,000, but the basic airplane here is $63, and it goes up to about $70, pretty well equipped. So all of those numbers are still in a very good place, and for most folks, that's an affordable number. When we look at the wings on this airplane, just like you thought as well, Dave, I thought some stuff. Well, is that a Dacron wing? That's what it's supposed to be, and indeed it is. But what we're fooled by here is the fact that this is a sewn Dacron wing. You can see the stitching down the wing, so you can know that later. As they pull it on, these ribs do not use the old insert aluminum tube that you had to shove in, and then you had to kind of crank them into position to tighten up on the wing. Instead, this uses internal ribs. They pull the skin over it, and then as they do it, they use these broadhead rivets to fasten it in place. And he says they really stay put well. But it kind of makes it look like a dope and fabric wing, or maybe even a metal wing. Indeed, this is the Dacron. And the good news about Dacron, some people kind of go, I don't know, that doesn't sound very aircrafty. It ought to be dope and fabric or metal or composite. But indeed, Dacron is what's used on every sailboat, good durable stuff, but one of the things is it comes with a color on it without having to paint it, which saves you a bunch of weight, and that's important in these kind of lightweight aircraft.
That control system, what type of controls are we using on it?
Real conventional controls, and the standard RANS sort of curved bar here, which still gives you a lot of room. You can trap it between your knees a little bit, but it really is quite out of the way here. I can move back and forth pretty easily. RANS has always had nice lightweight controls, and indeed this will have that as well. Dual rudder pedals down the bottom, brakes on both sides, so you just rock your foot forward, and just like on any tow brake airplane, you just rock forward to do the brakes on it.
But it has a steerable nose wheel on it.
Yes, absolutely. Steerable nose wheel. Flaps in the center here, very easily accessed, and with a detent button. 1, 2, 3, so 3 being the neutral position here. Throttle in the center, trim in the middle. Just a real nice, simple layout, but you know, even as I look at it right here, the finish of the panel is glowing back at me. These guys know how to paint an airplane. You know what? That's kind of an art.
And what kind of power are we using on this?
Well, here we go back to our good old friend, the Rotax 912S, which is, by the way, now available with a 2,000-hour TBO, puts it right in the same league as all those Lycomings and Continentals that people have grown up with. So the Rotax is ever more competitive, but it has always had a nice weight advantage. It can use auto gas or 100 low lead or any mixture of the two. And as we look at problems for a 100 low lead supply, that's a nice thing to know when you're making a purchase.
So if we want to get more information, Dan, where would we go?
Well, you just go to RANS.com, and that's RANS.com, and when you get there, you'll have a choice, because this company also makes bicycles, and some very competitive ones at that. You might enjoy looking around there, but if you just click on the very obvious button that says aircraft, that'll take you into their whole aircraft website, which has lots of information about all of their kits, their S19, their S7 that we talked about earlier, the tail dragger tandem, and this S6, which comes in a variety of offerings. The one we're talking about here is the LS, but they're offered in more ways than we've got time to tell you about. You'll have to go look on their website, RANS.com, and then click the aircraft symbol.
And you have a flight report on this one, Dan?
I have. I think I've gotten to fly all of the RANS airplanes now, except their one-time prototype, the S11. All the rest of them are available on BuyDanJohnson.com or BYDanJohnson.com.